Do you remember when India adopted the GST, the goods and services tax? The government's pitch was pretty simple: one nation, one tax. Cut to 2024, the GST is raising concerns, especially for its latest decision. One popcorn, many taxes. Let me explain. The GST Council met over the weekend in Jaisalmer. This is the apex body on indirect taxes. They had a meeting. This is the body that decides the levies on different goods and services. One such good was popcorn. There will now be three different rates for popcorn: 5% for the non-branded kind, 12% for the packaged and branded kind, and 18% for the caramel one. Users on social media were quick to criticize. Some of them posted pictures of mixed flavor popcorn like this one: Himalayan salt plus caramel. What rate will this mixed packet attract? You can see why this is confusing and unnecessary, not just to people on social media, but even experts. Listen to what the government's former chief economic advisor has said, and I'm quoting. This is a national tragedy, violating the spirit of the good and simple tax the GST was meant to be. The folly is compounded because instead of at least moving in the direction of simplicity, we are veering to greater complexity. That pretty much sums it up. The GST was supposed to make our taxes simple, but in some areas it has become more complicated. Let me tell you about a recent court case, a case that has troubled the Indian judiciary for 15 years. The case of the coconut oil. Like popcorn, there are different rates here. Edible oil has a 5% tax, but hair oil has 18% tax. Now, in some parts of India, coconut oil is used as both for cooking and hair care. The tax authorities wanted an 18% levy on it, but the companies went to court. And last week, the Supreme Court, the top court of India, settled this debate. They said if it is labelled edible, tax will be 5%. It doesn't matter how small the bottle is, where it is sold, or for what purpose it is sold. If it says edible, only 5% tax is applicable. Now, the confusion here is evident. Other hair oil makers must pay 18% tax, but coconut oil makers do not have to. Their tax is just 5%. All they have to do is slap on the edible tag. The idea of the GST was to avoid such issues, to make taxes more streamlined. But some producers say GST has complicated things. For example, roti and parathas. Both are made from the same staple ingredient, which is wheat, but frozen roti has 5% GST and frozen paratha has 18% GST. Such problems were highlighted by the World Bank a few years ago. You see, the GST is supposed to be a unified tax, meaning one rate for the whole country. But India's GST has 4 slabs: 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. And these multiple rates can complicate the system. Again, listen to what the World Bank said, and I'm quoting: the multiple rate structure and the enforcement framework using onerous reporting requirements for businesses places a huge compliance burden on businesses especially, and is having a negative impact on the economy. This is according to the World Bank. So why did India go for multiple rates then? Because we are a federal country. Different states have different interests and priorities. So one single rate was not acceptable. Despite all of this, GST collection has been impressive. It crossed 20 lakh crore rupees in the last financial year, which was a new record for indirect taxes. So clearly the idea is working. What we need is more simplification, perhaps more inputs from smaller businesses, because the GST was supposed to be the good and simple tax. Right now, it's neither.